write 5 things that cause friendships to fail. Okay. So 5 for both.
Wait, 5 that make a good friend?
Yeah, 5 that make a good friend, and then 5 that cause friendships to fail.
Got some loyalty on your chest. Loyalty.
I already got one. Don't worry about it.
So, who has risen? What makes a good friend? Go ahead, just shout them out.
Trust me.
Loyal. A good sense of humor.
Chill.
Flexible interests.
What did you say?
Flexible in terms of,
Flexible?
activities
Yeah.
or something.
Flexible and like acrobatic.
Not like can bend your arm
Compassion.
backwards.
Compassion?
Forgiving.
I have a view of that area. Great.
Accountability.
What did you say? Accountability? Accountable. What else? Let's name like 3 more.
They don't take themselves too seriously.
Smart.
They're a good listener.
Semi-smart. Intelligent enough.
Okay, we have smart, listener. What else did you guys say? Respectful. Okay, that's good. Okay, now, what are reasons that cause friendships to fail?
Haters.
Haters? What do you mean by haters?
Someone who hates on you all the time.
Okay, so they're negative?
Which I, in perspective on boys, women.
Just say religion, yeah, that's all.
Okay,
Inability to take a joke.
we'll do
That's
other relations.
That is true.
Rude.
When they take
There you go.
advantage of you.
I have one for both.
Who said something after gossip? I heard something today.
Growing apart.
Dishonest.
Basic.
Lack of interest.
Basic. Two-faced.
Ooh, you are.
Two-faced is good.
Well, that's kind of taking advantage of it. Dang, Trev.
Okay, so I want you to keep these lists. Does anyone have one they're dying to share before we move on?
When they refuse to forgive people.
Okay. Refuse to forgive, that's good. Okay, anything else? Okay, so, please forgive. Okay. So I want you to keep these lists in mind because we're gonna refer back to them at the end of class. But, right now you have 2 sheets of paper, and what we're going to do is we're going to look at the relationship between Brutus and Cassius in Act 1 and in Act 4. So a lot of times, I mean, I'm a college student, and even when I read Shakespeare, it seems kind of old-fashioned, or it's hard to relate to, right? Because the language is kind of difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to compare the relationship in both of these scenes so that we can kind of make our own comparison in our own lives. So, that being said, who can tell me what happened in Act 1? I know this is going back a little bit far, but what was Cassius trying to get Brutus to do in Act 1?
Join the Caesar.
Okay, yeah, join the conspiracy to kill Caesar, right? So, why did he want Brutus to join?
Because he's
Trustworthy.
respectful.
He's respectful, he's honorable. Okay,
You're a
yeah.
figurehead.
They'll make their conspiracy justified.
Yeah, right. So if Brutus goes with the conspiracy, it'll make the conspiracy have a better reputation, right? Because his reputation is so great. So you guys just read Act 4. What was the deal between Cassius and Brutus in Act 4? You guys remember what happened between them?
They were
They were
arguing.
fighting in an tornado.
Okay, so why were they fighting?
Because Brutus or someone didn't give somebody money.
Okay,
It's
you're
all
not
data.
gonna give Brutus
Totally
money.
there.
Cassie's gonna give Brutus money. What was Cassie's doing now?
He was trying to get donations and stuff.
in unlawful ways.
He's taking bribes, right? He's doing bribes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna split up into partners. So last class they chose their partners. Do you guys wanna choose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so right now move to set of two and sit together. Whoever you want your partner to be.
Get over here, Evan.
Oh, I see how.
You're about to learn so freaking hard right
Me and
now.
Trevor are about to destroy all of you. This is a competition. Is it because he has a car?
He's alright.
Dude,
Drive me places saying you have a swag car.
even if I couldn't, I would still make my
Okay,
mom.
raise your hand if you don't have a partner. You should be sitting next to them. Who doesn't? Anyone?
Hey Steven, do you have a partner? Yep. You shaved your thing.
Wait, are you a group?
Why? It looks so good.
Two, who else? You guys want to Are you a partner?
Try to get closer to me.
Okay,
Like, this is perfect.
you need to move
Sorry
to the
that
partners.
way.
Who are you partners with?
Partners, you see each other.
I mean,
You want me to sign you? Okay.
Really comfortable right now.
Are you a partner?
So my favorite partner now is at Chick-fil-A. They showed up and so they like
Your
bought
partners.
like better and bought me
Okay, why don't you Hey guys, we're
they
gonna
were like really hungry.
Okay, so with your partners, I'm gonna give you a line off this chart, okay? So you guys have diction, you guys have imagery, you guys have tone, diction, imagery, tone, diction, imagery, tone, diction.
Diction.
Okay? So let's go over these. What is diction? Word choice, right? Powerful words that stand out to you, that evoke emotion, okay? What is imagery and figurative language? What's figurative language? Give me an example.
Metaphors.
Simile, metaphor, okay? So what's a simile? Okay, so it compares two things using like or as, and then a metaphor doesn't use like or as, right? Okay, and then what's imagery?
Descriptions that involve your senses.
Okay, yeah, descriptions that involve your senses, right? The five senses. And then what is tone?
How you say something?
Okay, yeah, so if I said something in a sarcastic tone, it's going to sound a lot different than if I said something in a really serious academic tone, right? I'm not going to use a bunch of sarcasm and offhand remarks in an academic paper, right? So my tone's going to be different for those two things. So the tone is the overall feeling that's evoked when you read a passage, okay? So we're going to work with your partner, and you're going to do whatever category I just assigned you for both passages, Act 1 and 4. And they're on this other sheet that I gave you, okay? Go ahead and work on that right now. And then I'll come around and Okay? So who were my diction groups? Alright, so you guys are up first. So we're going to start with Act 1. What words stood out to you? Okay, okay, why don't we start back here?
Bestride. And clauses.
Clauses. Okay, so why did clauses stand out?
It was like a good, like representation of what,
Okay, so what does it?
like
Big
something
things like
big,
bronze
big,
giant or something.
Okay, so it's representing his power, being really over the top big, right? Okay, what about up here? What's the word you stood out to you?
Underlings.
Underlings. Okay, what does that mean?
It's like the people underneath.
Okay.
Not powerful.
Yeah, so it's all the servants, all the people under his power, okay? What about over here?
We put
Underlings.
dishonorable.
Dishonorable, okay?
Spirit.
And what?
Spirit.
Spirit, okay, why'd you choose those words?
Because those two words kind of hit close to home.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
Like, if I got called dishonorable, I would be pretty upset.
And you can't define spirit, you feel it.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's appealing to Brutus's sense of honor, right?
Yes.
He wants
Because we also put down like noble.
Noble, yeah. Okay, what about up here? You guys are in addiction group too.
We did gods and shamed.
Okay, yeah. So why'd you choose those two?
Gods because it makes it seem like there are people above watching down, and then shamed because it's like they're shamed of, like it's saying, asking if they're ashamed of Rome, and it speaks to you.
Okay. So let's go on to figurative language. Who are my figurative language groups? There should be one more. Okay, okay, so you guys are up first. What did you guys find?
Well, in the passage it says, not in our stars, and it says in the future and everything. I found similes.
What's an example?
Just sound them, it doth become the mouth as well. Way them is as heavy.
Okay. What is like a colossus? What is that an example of? What type of figurative language? Simile, yes. Why is it a simile? So it's comparing Brutus to Colossus, yeah. Okay, do you guys have any other ones you want to share? Figurative language? Yeah, one? No? Okay, who else from our figurative language? We had one over here. What did you guys find?
We found whenever he calls Brutus his name heavy, kinda. Like it's just as, I guess it kinda means how it sounds or like what it means to the people in Rome. It's like just as important as Caesar's name.
Okay, yeah, so why is he comparing Brutus's name to Caesar's name in this speech? What's his goal?
Brutus is kind of like step up his ruler.
Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah, so he wants the people to, or he wants Brutus to realize that he could be just as powerful and just as great as Caesar, right? Have you guys ever seen the movie Mean Girls?
Yes.
Okay, you know the speech where Gretchen Wieners gets up and she talks about like Brutus is just as good as Caesar, all of that.
Yes.
That's from this play. That's from this part. So Cassius is appealing to the fact that Brutus is this really noble guy and he wants the best for Rome, right? So he's comparing his name. He's going on and on. So what is write them, sound them, weigh them, conjure with them? What kind of structure is that? When all parts of the sentence are the same, what is that? Yes, no?
Sequence.
Yeah. Can you be more specific?
Repetition.
Repetition, yeah, it's a repetition. It's also parallel structure. You heard that? Parallelism, right? So he's overemphasizing the fact that Brutus's name or Brutus's reputation can be just as good as Caesar's. He could have just as much influence on Rome, right? Okay, what about that he has grown so great? What kind of question is that? Does anyone know? Cassius isn't waiting for Brutus to answer the question. So what kind of question is that? Rhetorical, yeah, exactly. And then did anybody catch the allusion at the end of the passage?
The Great Flood.
The Great Flood, yeah. What's that an allusion to?
No, the Great Flood in the Bible.
Yeah, Noah's Ark, right? So, okay, so we've done figurative language and diction. So what about the tone of this passage? Who are my tone groups? Okay, what did you guys say the tone was?
Like kind of like harsh and like dishonorable because they're gonna kill Caesar.
Okay, so who's being harsh?
Like, I don't know.
Okay, what is the goal behind this speech? What is Cassius trying to do?
He's trying to manipulate Brutus to kill Caesar.
Okay, so he's not being harsh with Brutus, because if he was being harsh with Brutus, that's hard to say, then Brutus wouldn't be convinced, right? So what's he doing instead? He's describing harsh things, yes.
He's like sweet talking them.
Yeah, flattery, right? It's very complimentary and persuasive, okay? So the tone is, he's doing a lot of flattery. What were you going to say?
It also kind of starts out at the very beginning, kind of bitter almost, because he talks about how Caesar is this great colossus,
and they're just like these little people who like walk under his legs and look about and like kind of are very beneath him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true. That also works. Okay, so let's move on to Act 4. Okay, so let's take a minute and now you all discuss these and your boxes should be filled in. I want you can go back to your partners and work together, but fill in the so what box of the paper.
What does the speech reveal about Cassius' relationship to Brutus? What does he want from Brutus at the time of his speech?
Okay, the first one, Cassie.
I want you guys to relate this back to your own lives. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back to the beginning part of this lesson, and we talked about friendships, right? So take a look at the backboard. I know it's kind of hard to read at the bottom, but you're going to answer 2 questions for me, and this is like just by yourself because your friendship is going to be different than the person sitting next to you. But you're going to refer back to these lists, and first I want you to do how Brutus and Cassius relate to these lists, okay? And then the second question is, how do your own friendships compare and contrast? So now then your second question asks you to relate it to your own life relationships. And then you guys can either write it on the bottom of that chart or the back of that chart, but you're going to print it in, so make sure it's on somewhere on that sheet of the chart.
Shakespeare wants to return to list.
Yep, that one.
Second
My
page.
first question is, how do the things you listed on the board relate to Brutus and Cassius?